We've seen how to put individual pieces of content onto a screen, but typically you'll want to create a playlist, a sequence of content sources to be displayed in order, just like a playlist of music in iTunes. Playlists are also sometimes called slideshows or albums, and you can create and manage them here in the content screen. So over here on the right, I have all my content sources, and this column here shows my playlists, or it would if I had any. So let's create one now, which I can do by clicking the little plus button down in the bottom. And I give it a name, news, and you can see there it is on the left. To put things in it, I just select them and drag them from the right into that playlist. I can select multiple things at once if I like, drag both of them. So now all sources here shows me all of my bits of content, and click on a playlist and you'll see only the things that are in the playlist. I can change the order in which these will display by just dragging and dropping them. And you can see each of these has a duration for which it'll be on the screen. I can double click on it and I can change that duration to something else, 10 seconds. If I want to change the duration for several things at once, I can select all of them using Control on Windows or Command key on Mac and just clicking them like that, and I can click Edit and put in whatever I want there, 1 minute. Once you've created a playlist, like news here, assigning it to a display is just like doing anything else. We go to Assignment, we find news, and we drag and drop it onto the display. Let's go back to content. A few final points we should note here. It's important to remember that playlists can include any variety of different source types. You can intersperse your company's PowerPoint slides with an RSS feed of the CEO's blog or a webcam view of the reception area, for example. When you drag something into a playlist, the initial duration that it gets will depend on the source, and it's usually 30 seconds by default, but you can change it on a per source basis. If I double click on this and go to meta information, we can see the default duration here. Let me make that 20 seconds. Okay, country gate, I drag it into the news feed, and if we go and look at that, we should see that that's now there for 20 seconds. And there's another thing you may have noticed. The icons in a playlist are greyed out versions of the originals. This is colour, this is grey. And that's just a visual reminder that these are really references to a source. They're entries which say that this source is in this playlist for 1 minute. And that's slightly different from the icon for the source itself, which you can find in all sources here. The difference is often unimportant, but there is one very key thing that you should note. If you delete an icon from a playlist, it just gets removed from that playlist. If you actually delete it when you're looking at all sources, one of these coloured ones, you are actually deleting the source itself, and it'll be removed from any and all playlists that it exists in. If you select a playlist once you've created it here, and click the Edit button, we can change various aspects of the playlist configuration. So I can click randomize here, and things in that playlist will then be played in a random order rather than the order in which they're displayed. I can also request that a caption is displayed. Now what this does, if I select brief, for example, and the entry title, what will happen now on the screen is that as each new item is displayed, the title, its name and CODA will be displayed briefly along the bottom. Why would you want to do this? Well, it's very handy, for example, if you have a playlist that switches between lots of, say, webcam views, then you might want to have the name of the webcam appear for a brief period each time it switches, so that you'll know which one you're currently looking at. Let me show you one more thing on here, and that is that when you create a playlist, it also appears in sources here, because playlists are themselves sources, and so you can easily create a new one, important content, and I can put the news playlist and some other stuff into that important content playlist, and you'll see here that you can then include playlists within playlists to build up quite complicated slideshows of content.